Welcome and thank you all for joining us today for our FreeWave webinar, Secure Communication Solutions for a Rugged IoT Future. Here to present from FreeWave is Sales Director, North American Distribution, OEM and International, Luis Cordoba. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to add them into the chat and they'll be addressed at the end of the session. Luis, you're up.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Thank you for the introduction and the stage, and thank you everybody for participating in the webinar. So I put a quick agenda there so you guys know what we're going to go through. Basically, you know who FreeWave is. We'll talk about our 900 megahertz SCADA and telemetry solutions, followed by our Sentry and ES1000, which is a secure connectivity solution, and part of a couple more solutions that we've added to our portfolio, where we bring some IoT, cellular airtime, and satellite IoT platform for connectivity. All right, so a little bit about FreeWave. We are a 32-year-old company based out of Boulder, Colorado. We are design, manufacture, and test our products here in the U.S. We've been in business for 30 years. We've been very well recognized for long range, low power wireless communications for SCADA, telemetry, and IoT. We've built products in the for private networks in the 900 megahertz, 400 megahertz. And about 5 years ago, we decided to expand a little bit the portfolio. At that time, we started adding these cellular and satellite solutions that we will show you as we go through the slides. And then part of those solutions are tied to a cloud platform. A cloud platform as a service where, you know, it will be a security solution and also an IoT data platform solution. So just on the right-hand side, you can see some of the industries that we've served over the last 30 years, 30 plus years. We're very well ingrained in the oil and gas, working with 29 out of the 32 oil producers, working with G&D, you know, Navy, Army Corps of Engineering, you know, just connecting these remote assets or remote sensors in the fields. Also very well known in the agriculture space, working with the top 5 irrigation companies and also John Deere. And also in the wastewater management, we work a lot with cities, municipalities. We work everything through you know, 2-tier distribution model. So thus Winncom being one of our distributors and their system integrators being able to, you know, source the products, get the support that they need through the FreeWave tech support team and so forth. So you can see a few of the logos in the bottom that I kind of mentioned there. Let's see here okay. So here's a quick slide on, you know, we offer 2 types of 900 megahertz radios. One is a 100% serial radio, and then the other one is an Ethernet plus serial plus IO radio. You know, the FGR3 has been built for the last 32 years. The Zoomlinks probably have about 8 years in the market. That's our IP radio, and they come in different form factors. You'll see some enclosed versions and some board level versions, and we even have some OEM versions of these products. Target markets, as we mentioned, you know, the oil and gas and utilities and all that, but it's basically anywhere that you need to connect PLCs, RTUs, sensors, cameras, anything that you need to connect in the field. This is where this product meets the requirements. What problems do we solve? You know, basically we do a lot of long range, low power consumption. So a lot of these radios are fairly easily enabled with, you know, just a battery and a solar panel in remote locations where there's no energy, no communications. It's very easy to power them with that sort of setup. They're very reliable, and you know, the other key feature that we have is that our radio can be configured as a master, remote, or endpoint, and also as a repeater. So for those hard to reach places, this is a perfect radio to get to, across mountains or across different areas where you have like some of those remote sites that are hidden. You can put repeaters with these radios. Next slide here. So I kind of put this here. It's like an architecture, kind of like, so you can see this is a point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, plus the repeater sites. You're able to connect all your field assets, and some examples of, like water tanks or even drones, or, the irrigation or tractors, as I mentioned, some of the type of customers that we work with. The beauty of the ZoomLink or ZoomEdge product, or that family of product, is that it does have an edge compute capability on it. It does carry a Linux-based computer where you can install different apps or utilize different um, softwares like Node-RED to be able to create your own functionality at the edge. So that's one of the key features of the product. Going into the ZoomEdge, basically what this is basically is a ZoomLink radio, but we add the functionality of being able to stack up I/O, so digital inputs, digital outputs, or analog inputs, outputs, anything that has 420 milliamp or 0 to 5 volts in the field. Number one, we can power it up from the unit, and number two, we can collect that data. And on the top part, it's a ZoomEdge. We actually get that data and we convert that electrical pulse into a Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP protocol to be able to publish that data into your SCADA, or with the servers that you need to push that data into. We are adding some new features to this ZoomEdge, and that's the reason that I have the bottom product, the CU1100. But we're doing enhancements as a ZoomEdge in the sense that through the portal or through the web browser configuration screens, you're able to put the scaling of your analog or inputs or outputs. You're able to transmit this over Modbus RTU or Modbus TCP. You're also going to be able to detect if a sensor in the field is failing, and we're going to add additional protocols to this so that it'll understand different protocols. But all in all, any of the Zoom links, we're a transparent bridge when it comes to other protocols. So any asynchronous bit-oriented protocol, we are able to transmit from point A to point B. So as I mentioned, we're adding more features to this type of solutions, and we came up with the CU1100 is basically a pre-configured plug-and-play wire replacement, wire replication solution. So the example that I have there is basically you put a level sensor on the water tank that sends a signal to the other end where the well pump is, and if that level is low, it tells the pump to turn on by itself. So it sends a signal to turn the pump on, to fill in the tank, and as the tank gets filled up, the sensor will send the signal that it's getting filled up, and it'll send another signal to the pump to turn off. So basically, that's what we call wire replacement, wire replication. It's basically replacing a piece of wire with a wireless solution that will activate the functionality. And this helps customers reduce trenching, speed up any type of deployment. No permits for trenching or digging, or just all those, the time and the expense to do that. This wireless solution just comes pre-configured, plug and play out of the box. All you got to do is put your actuators or sensors that you want to utilize for the specific application or use case. In this case, I use a water tank monitoring and control, but you could turn on or off lights and many other use cases. So going to the next slide, this is just applications. Some of the applications, like for example, in oil and gas, you'd be able to, get the, based on the pressure or flow, turn on or off if there's a leak detection, remote shutdowns, and it's all automated, right? So this is pretty much a unmanned automation because it's doing it via software. So that's the pre-configuration that we've done to that pair of units. And also for utilities, you can check and see real-time control of remote sources. You can, if the solar inverters are working or not, they can activate something on the other end. Remote valve automation, bidirectional automation for water, wastewater dams. You can also do control for building automation systems where, if the temperature raises to X level, turn the HVAC system off in these industrial settings and so forth. So all in all, this has potential savings for customers, because there's no trenching, there's no digging, all the costs around permits, and some of the costs can even be budgeted, right? If a dam breaks because you overflow it, but you could have prevented that by having an automated, unmanned solution out there in those remote sites that could have been prevented, then that those sort of scenarios is where the cost savings can even be calculated. Real quick, I kind of put this here just for reference. Is the typical bill of material for these type of solutions is pretty much 5 part numbers. So the radio, you select the type of radio, select a pigtail. You got to put some surge protection. The coax runs depending on the height, tower height, or where you're going to install it, and then last but not least, the type of antenna that you will be utilizing. Winncom does provide all the accessories along with the radios, so they can give you a turnkey solution. And then obviously these radios are not IP rated for outdoors. I mean, they're industrial, but you need to put them in a cabinet or an enclosure because they're not waterproof. So that's another part that you could source from Winncom. So in a nutshell, smart monitoring solutions across verticals are, what's the flow, what's the water, what's the pressure, what's the temperature, battery status, levels, pH flows. So once you learn how to monitor any of these verticals, then going across any of the other verticals is pretty simple, right? So just kind of like creating economies of scale here with this type of solutions. The next solution I wanted to discuss, it's a new solution from FreeWave. It's called Sentry. It's a secure network solution for remote assets, and it's basically composed of 4 items. One is the Sentry, which has the Sentry app or tunneler that runs on devices. In this case, we have a hardware piece which is called the ES1000, but Sentry, it is agnostic to the vendor. So we do have our own hardware, but this Sentry can be run on other OEMs devices, depending on the compute capabilities that they have. But these Sentry tunnelers are based on a technology called or a paradigm shifting paradigm that is becoming in cybersecurity called zero trust network architecture. And what we provide with the Sentry is the tunnelers and a zero trust network overlay to be able to connect at scale multiple devices in the field. And I'll explain a little bit more. But basically, zero trust is never trust, always verify. It provides the least privilege access. You can give more access as needed. It provides the capability of doing microsegmentation of those remote sites, so you can have different areas of the deployments have different accesses and do microsegmentation. It replaces, basically replaces VPNs, and it becomes more secure. So any vulnerabilities that you have with VPNs, like open IP ports or open firewall ports, they're completely uh, ignored or shut down because the solution basically with the zero trust network overlay and the Sentry becomes invisible to the internet. And it's always going to ask for authentication before it connects and validate the user. We're validating these users based on identities, not IP addresses, and that's how you will not, people will not be able to see the network over the internet. So, and then the hardware piece, we optimize this to work with Sentry. It's designed for security. We do include with this solution multi-carrier SIM card, so that helps reduce, the billing. Instead of customer having multiple bills from, one for AT&T, one for Verizon, and then one for the security aspect of the Sentry, it's all bundled together into one single bill for the solution. And then the beauty of the multi-carrier SIM card is that, it works with, like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. It will connect to the tower that has the best RSSI, and it'll switch between them. So you no need to have a dual SIM card radio anymore. This will be done at the firmware, software, and service that we provide. And then on the right hand side, you see is basically that's the console, the management platform for those Sentry connections. So let's take a deeper look at what those connections look like. Those connections will, you won't require VPNs. You will not need a private APN or static IP address or private IP address. You will not be dependent on the carriers or IP addresses that they provide. No open inbound ports will be at those remote sites. Whether it's a MQTT port or HTTPS or Telnet or SMTP port, all those ports will be secured through the Sentry network overlay. And the microsegmentation that we discussed, but at the same time, all this data will be encrypted end to end. And this is how Sentry, makes your network invisible to the world. This target market for these solutions are, all the infrastructure plays, especially critical infrastructure like the nation's electrical utilities, water, wastewater, ports, railroads. So anything that has to do with infrastructure, this can be the solution to help secure and get compliant, right? Get compliant with the new levels of security that are required in the industry. Again, this I explained the three components of the solution. So the ES1000 is our hardware. You can source that through Winncom, but there are other third-party devices that either cellular IoT gateways or other PLCs or edge computes that have that capability to install the application on it. And I'll touch a little bit on one of the next slides as to what operating systems the Sentry supports. It's pretty agnostic, so you'll be able to install it at different levels. Let's take a deeper look at what zero trust really means. It's no user or device is trusted to access the network, and only if they are verified via the tokens and certificates that are pre-installed will be able to connect to that network. So instead of having, like, typically you will have a VPN solution and a big firewall doing a lot of policies. This zero trust checks the identity at each door. so it reduces the risk of breach and vulnerabilities. Some of the key advantages you can see there on the right, seamless across firewalls. Once you're on the network overlay, on the Sentry network overlay, you can be on one part of the country and connect to a site at the very remote end, and it'll go across firewalls. It's based on identities, and it's overlaid on top of the IP network, and it'll allow you to connect. We mentioned the built-in encryption, the microsegmentation. So I'll go to the next slide here. You can see here, we discussed the no inbound connections. So the traffic, practically the ports that are available at those remote sites are invisible to everybody on the internet, except the licenses that run Sentry, which can be, as I mentioned previously, on different operating systems. So once you secure your remote sites, which will be more based on a Linux tunneler, as you can see there on the right, or your servers, you will allow or install in the field supervisors or technicians or the people in the enterprise headquarters, you would allow them to connect to those remote sites via the Sentry tunneler installed on a Windows, Mac OS, and if you're a iPad user or Android user, you're also able to install this tunneler system in the mobile devices. And then all of that will be orchestrated or controlled via the Sentry controller. We discussed all these, key points. We do provide mutual TLS. So before it connects, it's going to check, okay, are you the endpoint? Are you the master? Or are you the controller? And then it validates the token, and then all the data that's coming across is going to be encrypted. We do use external identity providers to generate these tokens. So we do provide JWT systems. We can integrate the multi-factor authentication that is currently in place with the that the customer has. I wanted to touch on this slide is basically, and we'll share this deck. You'll see here on the right hand side, there's a few links to who's using these, or why is zero trust important. There's a DoD PDF. It's unclassified material, but it really tells you the strategy, and the zero trust implementation by the DoD has a mandate to have been executed by 2027. So everything in DoD has to have zero trust security. Also CISA, which is critical infrastructure. That's where the energy sector comes in, the water, wastewater, and everybody needs to start implementing better security across their infrastructure, because we've seen that current infrastructure is very vulnerable. There's been a lot of hacks, a lot of ransomware, and that's where we come in with the Sentry, and we bring this type of security for these OT networks that is compliant with the IT department. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what it does. Let's see here. Let's go to the next slide. It's just another example, comparing or just showing you if you use a VPN, versus a zero trust network overlay. We increase your security and lower your cost. Just to manage a VPN, you need VPN hardware, VPN software. You need to maintain it. You need to have a lot of licenses that are very costly. You probably are going to get a lot of things that you don't need, that could probably be secure with a zero trust network overlay that you will be paying for. And also, all those VPNs are attached to firewalls and firewall policies, and it's just very manual and takes a lot of difficulty to manage. What we propose with the Zero Trust Network Overlay is basically you install the CTA agent, you decrease your threats, increase your security, and it's very easy to manage the connections. And as I mentioned, this can be installed on laptops and servers, and SCADA's third-party software. So you can see here on the right-hand side, that's basically kind of like what the network would look like. And the Sentry console, which is right here in the center, that's where you're going to manage who connects to what, who sees what, when, and where they're allowed to connect to it. And it's as easy as you can turn off a switch in the platform, and then that user or that device will not have access to all the applications or devices in your network. Here's an example of if we were to secure like a FreeWave FGR Zoom network, but this could be any network. This could be any of the other OEM vendors that Winncom represents. We could secure any wired or wireless network. What we're providing with the network overlay, as you can see here, let me get like a laser pointer here. So we'll be able to secure, let's say you have 100 sites that are either wired or wireless. In this case, with the we have the ES1000, which is a cellular gateway, and then that will allow this vendor one or vendor two or the operator, or where we're publishing the data into these third-party systems or remote operators, they be able to have that access to it. But anybody else in the world that does not have that Sentry tunneler installed does not know that this network exists. So that's what we call that this is invisible to the internet. So what are those apps that are pretty much running behind that we are protecting? So all this data that you're collecting from the field, from telemetry, from IoT, from machine to machine, is basically going up into servers at the company or in the cloud or wherever they want to put them. And data is gold, right? So this is what they're using the data for preventive maintenance, predictive analytics, automation, network diagnostics, and we're helping secure those networks with the Sentry solution. It's a very, very simple solution to deploy. We have a challenge, a 30-day challenge. So if you guys are interested, please hit us up. We have a 30-day challenge to implement Sentry networks for customers to show them and validate the security. So if anybody's up for it, just let us know. A little bit on the encryption. Just wanted to show this slide. We do ChaCha 20 Poly 1305, and a sample of the ports. But we do secure all the ports available. And basically, what this does is it does not allow port sniffing attack because it's fully encrypted and it's invisible to the internet. So that's another part of the challenge that we can help you with your customers to ensure that they see the security. I'll skip this slide. We discussed this, the desktop, mobile, and servers. But for OEM level customers, we do have a version that goes at the SDK level, and then also a browser version of the Sentry tunnelers. Multi-site access management, just an example where you can see multiple sites, multiple PLCs, all being secured and giving access to whoever needs the access within the company to be able to provide those use cases that I mentioned previously, right? The predictive analytics and all that. So maybe the field technician is more on the operation side, and he has access to every single of the PLCs. But maybe if you're looking at just a data analyst at the enterprise level, he just needs certain data or certain services that he can access, but nothing that he can, do damage, right? Like command and control, like turn off a pump. This guy doesn't need to have that access. So that's where the microsegmentation level comes for this solution. Another example here, it's we discussed a lot about infrastructure plays more outdoors, but it also plays in factory level. There's a lot of third-party vendor accesses, a lot of old production lines. That how do you bring security to older assets, and assets like this that have maybe at the CNC machine level or production lines, you have Windows 7. We can secure that to that level. And those are the vulnerable points that we need to address for a lot of these manufacturing facilities in the US and across the world. I think it pretty much coming to an end here, but a couple of the solutions that I mentioned on the connectivity solutions, we do have this one global SIM card. It's a multi-carrier SIM card. It works, 190 countries, connects to about 600 carriers. It acts as a local SIM card. It's not a roaming SIM card. It acts as a local SIM card, and we do provide a platform where you can manage the SIM cards. And basically, what this helps you as a customer is we consolidate all the billing into a single bill and give you a platform to manage it, to turn it on, turn devices on and off, or data plans on and off. We provide customized data plans for your solutions. And then on the satellite piece, we do have a plug and play solution. You tell us what sensor data you want from the field, and we put it in your servers, so we can provide an end-to-end solution. We utilize Viasat IDP services and our FreeWave Insights data platform to provide that service. Basically, we collect 420 milliamp or serial data from the field and deliver it to you to your data servers in an MQTT format or OPC UA or Modbus TCP RTU or a JSON format. So that's a pretty good solution for where cellular is not available, or where deploying a private network like the Zoomlink or Zoomedge becomes too expensive for maintaining. And then just a satellite solution to collect the data from the field, it's viable. We do have an example. I can give you an oil and gas producer out of Mexico. There's only one, so you guys can guess what that company is. And we do provide over 1,000 satellite services for onshore and offshore platforms for their SCADA communications. And so, yeah, we're coming to an end here. Thank you very much. And just in summary, we're protecting global infrastructure from cyber attacks with the Sentry. FreeWave's been in business and trusted by many of the big names in multiple industries, and we're helping communicating and securing this field data. VPNs are weak, outdated, complex, and for you to move with the industry, as I mentioned, DoD needs to has a mandate that to implement this by 2027. And as we go through the rest of 2025 and 2026, you'll see a lot more projects requiring better security and better compliance with the cybersecurity implementations. And we're here to support you. So any questions that you have or any projects that you'd like us to support you and address, we're here to support you with the Winncom team. And with that, thank you very much. We'll go into a Q&A session. Dawn?
Thank you. We actually have quite a few questions here. I'm just going to start with the top and work my way down. Are your solutions point-to-point or point-to-multipoint?
We have our solutions are point-to-point, point-to-multipoint. We do have the capability of adding repeaters, so that extends the region. That's at the zoom link, zoom edge level. When it comes to the ZU1100, today, that wire replacement, wire replication is point-to-point only, but we do plan to add more capability for it to do maybe one master to 4 or 5 sites, but that's a roadmap, and we're building on the software for that.
Wonderful. Can I use existing inventory of Zoom Edge and IOEX 4422 to interchange or create a solution?
Unfortunately not. This has a specific firmware or software that we've embedded into the CU1100 to make it a plug and play solution, and all the ports are mapped within the firmware and software to be able to execute on those commands that we mentioned, right? We mentioned that you can turn on and off a pump based on an alert or a threshold that was sent from the level sensor in that case. So all that is done at the software level, and so they come pre-configured out of factory as point-to-point. So you'd have to order as a kit.
Great. And what is the expected performance of the Zentry device when it's deployed at scale?
So yeah, this Zentry, the network overlay is scalable. We can go to hundreds of thousands of devices. So the network is ready for IoT devices to be able to protect them and secure them, or any type of organization. So yeah, the solution is very scalable.
Okay, and how would your proposed solutions integrate existing infrastructure?
So when you're talking about Sentry, don't think that you need to replace like firewalls, or it's a network overlay. So it sits on top of the IP addresses of your current networks, and then we convert that into identities to be easier to manage and to make them invisible to the internet. So it complements the enterprise and industrial operations, cybersecurity mandates or cybersecurity compliances that they need. So it sits on top of it. So it works in parallel, in conjunction with other systems that are in place. There's no need to replace anything.
Great. We have one more question for you. What protocols does Zentry support for communication with field devices?
So we're agnostic, and we're not really touching the data. We're just securing the tunnels or the tunnelers with the Sentry app between all the devices, and we're just encrypting the data. So we're pretty agnostic. There's no like you'll be able to transmit any of the protocols. We typically utilize like MQTT for the IoT or the industrial settings, but we'd be able to transport any of the protocols that are at OT level.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that's all the questions we have. Just real quick, I would like to say thank you to you, Luis, and to all of those who are here and attending. Please be sure to keep an eye out for a follow-up email we will be sending out. It'll include all the links and the information that you just learned.
Yeah, and I think it's important. This was a quick rundown. We are going to have a FreeWave webinar on the Sentry, which will have a lot more detail. It'll have also that 30-day challenge that I mentioned. So I recommend that if you guys are interested in cybersecurity and zero trust, and how to support your customers with better security, to participate in that. And I will share that with Dawn, so she can reach out to all of you guys, and you can get a deeper dive on it. It'll be very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day.
All right. Thank you.